Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this new sessions, which is all about skills and learning. Just like my previous session, I have a very easy role because I have two fantastic speakers in the session today with me. So without further ado, I would like to give the word to Chiara and Giordano. I hope that I pronounce it right. I tried my best. If you have any questions about during the session, just enter them in the chat and we will make sure that they are being answered. So have fun and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Joris. So thanks everybody for joining us for this session. So thanks for trying to pronounce my name. I know it's quite complicated. So my name is Chiara and I have 20 years of experience on the mainframe environment. And I work now in a team of people whose mission is the governance and management towards a cloud-oriented data center. So let's quickly talk about the agenda of this session. So today I want to share with you the journey that we started to prepare our mainframe for the Z next generation. So I will tell you what we did in the company, also for the onboarding of the new people. Then I will left the floor to Giordano that will share his experience on getting on board. And then at the end, I also will talk to you about the project that we are carrying out for the awareness regarding the mainframe. So to plan where you want to be, you need to know where you're starting from. So let's a little bit go back. 1964, there was the first announcement of the mainframe. So we are talking about the IBM System 360. So I had a look to the announcement. I went through what they wrote about it, and it was the very first time they were talking about the mainframes. And if you have a chance to go and read it, they were talking about the needs of business growth, new application coming on board, the ability to choose what you need, the need to expand businesses, and the need to solve what they call today's problems to anticipate tomorrow's problem. So most of these sentences, I think they sound very familiar. So 2022, I'm sure that many of you did not miss out. There was the Z16 announcement. So what happened in 58 years' time? For people working on the mainframe, and I can confirm it for the past 20 years, we have often heard that it was going to die, but it's still here. So with the IBM Z16 announcement, we are not going much far from the same needs of 1964. Of course, today we have a more advanced and powerful technology, but we are always talking about agility, flexibility, optimization. We are talking about application need to modernize, to integrate between core and cloud applications. We are talking about the need to make faster decisions. And we are also talking about quantum safe security. And this is our tomorrow's problem. So if you think about the issues that mainframe wanted to solve over the year, the base business needs didn't change much. They only got modernized to the time that we're living in. So 28 May 1976, Sogei was born. So Sogei was born with the aim of digitizing the Italian tax registry. And to do so, it used mainframe. So we do have a great tradition on this platform. The evolution of the mainframe was a natural consequence to our business. And now the mainframe represents one of our main assets. So not only it is the database of the Italian tax system, it is also the basic backend for many applications that are running outside the mainframe platform. As strategic partner of the Economic Financial Administration, Sogei's mission is to contribute to the modernization of the country, supporting the process of public administration digital transformation. So since 1976, Sogei has developed and run its services able to manage the complexity of the public system. So we aim to build a citizen experience, new, simple, fast, and above all, completely digital through innovation, skill development, and investments in new technology, all with a great attention to citizens. So the way we look at data has changed over the years. Once we only store them somewhere, and when you needed them, you just run a query on them. Today, it is different. We can say that we get inspired by data. It is the data that talks to you and tells you what kind of services you can offer to your customers. So we do have different kind of data. Anything now can be data. So images, text, number, and you could do a very long list. So data is not just abundant, it's a cumulative resource. So it's not just important to store it in a safe place, it is also important how you have access to it. And access must be the easiest and fastest way as much as possible. And probably what you would think is fast for your customer is not fast enough. So especially nowadays, that time is becoming very crucial. So every journey starts with a single step. So let's start our journey back in 2016. So we installed 2 accelerators. So we were starting to appreciate the potential of this technology to give a boost to the queries running on DB2 for ZOS. This was the starting point to look to the future and beyond. The more we used them, more potential came out. We then moved from the old pure data accelerators to the new IBM integrated accelerator system. The challenges that we wanted to overcome were improvement in response time, that some queries on DB2.4z just timed out, and then average execution time less than 1 second. So we're talking about an overall improvement in response time and reduced consumption. So meantime, we started to think, how could we improve exposing mainframe data? So the idea was to have COBOL programs exposed as REST APIs, and this can be integrated in an API management. And this seemed to us to be a good start. And so we did it with the IBM ZOS Connect Enterprise Edition that provides a framework that enables ZOS-based programs and data to participate fully in the new API economy. So mobile and cloud application developers inside or outside SOJ can incorporate ZOS data and transactions into their applications without the need to understand ZOS subsystem. So together with the process of exposure of the COBOL programs on KICS, we thought also of an entire process of continuous integration. So we are integrating all the business tools, making the development of REST APIs on KICS a DevOps process. We then needed to prove that the common talks were done probably because of the lack of knowledge of the possibilities that there are to exploit the mainframe. So data is the core business. So we do not have to forget about that. So it is crucial. And then there are also GDPR rules and infrastructural security that we cannot put aside, especially these days. And of course, time to market is a main point. So if we talk about integration, we can talk about the IBM Data Virtualization Manager for ZOS. It allows users and applications to access data in read-write in real time, making this data accessible to any application, even outside the mainframe, directly on the mainframe. This means no need of moving data, no need to worry about the quality of data. If I start copying data around, I have to make sure it is maintained and updated. I think this is an important issue, so let's not forget that moving data is a cost, and in a disaster recovery strategy, it can be complicated to set up policies. Then what's next for us? You can see on the slide, Zoe. Zoe is an open source project, and the main focus of Zoe is to open the mainframe to microservices to consume typical mainframe application resources and data in a more agile way, and DB2 Foundation tool that will become the main tool for managing DB2 and the accelerator. We took part to the sponsor user program, and one of the functions that we love about it is the drill down in few clicks on the object. And some key features are discover, explore, administer, and develop and tune. I will not talk too much about Zoe and DB2 Administration Foundation tool, because in this conference, there are many other sessions with demos that talk about them. So I invite you to go and have a look to those. So moving further in our future, one of the new functionalities of the Z16 is the ZOS container extension. So we would like to increase the agility and flexibility by adopting an hybrid cloud model that allows us to modernize applications, optimize integration between core and cloud native applications, and increase developer productivity. In the near future, we would like to have the mainframe to be part of an hybrid cloud. So we will be starting to have it part in our cloud on-premise. And we began to experiment with cloud services more than a decade ago. And we are also pursuing other advanced technology like AI and data as a service. And moreover, ZOS Container Extension enable AI model development uses standard market tools like TensorFlow and Jupyter directly on ZOS or Linux on Z. One of the aim of innovation is also to make life easier for us. And so we not only would like to make faster and real-time decisions through the implementation of artificial intelligence algorithms, we also would like to exploit AI to optimize performances and consumptions, infusing AI in the DB2 workload. And we would also use it to detect anomalies before the problem can occur, leveraging out-of-the-box AI-infused models. We would like to identify use cases to be exploited with the IBM Z Systems hardware, even considering the new AI accelerator on chip. Talking about quantum safe and full of homomorphic encryption, we also would like to start solving what we consider our tomorrow's problems. So we were quite satisfied with all of this, and we did not even imagine what the future could have held for us. And no, if we talk about perspective, what do I mean by perspective? For me, it's just a different way to look at the same reality. And I think it is affected by our life experience, by our work experience, by our attitude, by our comfort zone, and by lots of other things. However, to change one's point of view is not so easy. And I hope you would all agree on that. That is regardless of the age. So in 2016, Sojei started hiring a large number of graduates. So the new generation was making its way in the company. So this picture shows only a very small group of them, and just to show you that they are real and they are the future of the company. So even with pandemic, Sojei continued to hire because people are our most precious natural resource. We had more than 700 new hires in the last 3 years. And so together with the graduates, Sojei also hired some experienced people. At the very same time, retirements started to take place. So many people that gave a big contribution to the company were leaving. Now, people in the mainframe had another challenge, how to make them integrate with an enterprise platform such as mainframe. How would they feel about mainframe? So this is probably what elder people could have in mind thinking about mainframe, but probably graduates do not have a clue, if not only thinking about the movies. In the movies, they use the word mainframe as a shorthand for an infinitely powerful computer housing endless volumes of data. Nevertheless, is mainframe something obsolete? So mainframe is hosting the major part of our information assets. However, it is a commonplace that is legacy, an heritage belonging to the past, an obstacle to innovation. But it is really that way? So are we sure this is something that we need to get rid of? Some things to think about, is what would happen to our information assets, to the data? We would have to migrate everything, and where? So are we sure that we cannot innovate? Are we ready to make compromises for reliability, security, availability, and performance? So we had many questions and many decisions, and of course, how to get the new generation on board. Okay, it is common to hear that we cannot show them the black and green screen, that they will run away, but today there are new tools that can avoid that. So we needed to also face a cultural change, not only for the new generation, but also for more expert people. So we cannot afford anymore to hear, we have always done it this way. Even Grace Hopper said that this is the most dangerous phrase, that we must be open to the change and to embrace what future capabilities can give us. So often we talk about modernizing the mainframe without focusing on the fact that the technology is already there, and we need to modernize our applications and the way we use them. So what is Sojei doing to make new people in the company integrate and grow, and what it is doing to keep up the expertise and knowledge transfer? So we have different paths and one hashtag, and it's translated to English, is two of us. So let's talk about mentoring. Mentoring started as a special project in 2018. So we have been one of the first companies in Italy adopting this approach based on 5 steps. prepare, explain, show, observe, and support. So in 2020, we had 94 mentors, then it grew up to 122, last year 187, and this year we will go over 200. The aim is to create and accelerate the integration of expert people in the company, create a one-to-one relationship based on exchange and mutual esteem. Then we have tutors. Tutors are for the new hire in apprenticeship, and it lasts 2 years and 2 years and a half. The aim of a tutor is to introduce the mentee to a topic in which is considered to be an expert, to support the mentee in study and learning, evaluate the improvements with a positive and corrective feedback, and then do mediation between the students and the content. So to make the content to be understandable for the student. So both tutors and mentors have to do a specific training to learn how to interact with the mentee the best way as possible. Then there are coaching sessions. Coaching is a partnership for the creation of a development path, a creative process that stimulates reflection and maximizes one's potential in work and in life. It's a positive approach based on principles and tools, so people can, in an effective way, achieve personal and work-related goals. One thing is very important is feedback. Feedback is essential in any kind of context, but it must be done in a positive way. Last but not least, we have an internal learning platform called Ready to Learn. Courses and content are designed by our Center of Expertise, and we also have some other partner platforms. So I wanted to show you this slide because we often talk about skills, but we do not focus on what they really are. Outside of Sojai, I do mentoring on Z for students, and often they are focused only on technical skills. And it takes me some time and patience to prove them that there are other kinds of skills that are important. So what skill do I need for a job? How do I recognize what kind of skills I start with? So there are some considerations that we can do. So of course, there are technical skills and soft skills, and never underestimate soft skills. And there are skills that can be built up studying or practicing. Then we have abilities that are easy for us, that are things that often we don't even think that can be skills. And there are attitudes that we often never recognize them as skills. Then there are skills that take us out of our comfort zone, and some that we cannot absolutely do without them. So it might not be easy to make a self-assessment, but I think it is a good starting point to think about the things that we can manage to do quite well on any aspect of life, and then try to understand why we are so good at doing those things. And we will start to have a nice list of skills, soft and technical, and we also will start thinking about which one are our own abilities. Then I think it could be a good idea to go to the family, friends, teachers, people that shared any kind of experience with us, and ask them what they think we are good at, what they think could be our strengths. And I think that you could find some unexpected responses on that. So often people see us in a different way as we do, and they have different also scaling rating what we are good at. Then once you got this nice list, you can try to be specific. Like, for example, communication is a skill, but there are different ways of communicating to others, making videos, talking, webinars, writing an article, podcast, presentation. So, we need to try to go in depth on the many aspects that, skills can bring us to. So, and then another important thing is to keep in mind that as we go through the journey of life, we are changing, and surely our skills will change. So we will have to review them time to time. Then once we have done all of that, I think it's important to evaluate them. There might be different scales of evaluation. To begin with, we can do some main categories. Skill I just started to learn, skill I want to improve, skill I'm really good at, or skill I don't have and I would like to, to start approaching. This will help us to give priority to our learning plan, and it also will give us an idea of our strength and weakness. And I think this is also important when applying for a job, since you can be more confident about yourself. I have seen skill maps of newly hired graduate people, and on some skills, they always put the maximum evaluation just because they have studied it. So when doing an evaluation, remember the context, trying to understand for whom you're doing it. And of course, we do have to remember that theory and practice are different things. And I think also we have to remember that sometimes it is virtually impossible to have the maximum marks on some skills. Like in technology, that is always changes. So perhaps it is better to just stay one step under and not get into the risk of over-evaluation. This will also demonstrate to others that we are willing to continue to improve on that. So talking about attitudes, I'm talking about confidence, optimism, reliability, those represents positive attitudes. But even if one person maybe has a negative attitude, let's say there is a person that sees the worst in everything they do, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. As long as this person is doing anything he or she can do to change the situation in a better situation, that also could be useful in one team. Just to have optimistic person all the time, could make some problems. So something also that we need to keep in mind is that I might be able to teach you how to work on the mainframe, but I cannot teach you how to be honest or to be a person that I can trust to. And there are also lots of other values that we could mention. So when companies hire people, especially on the mainframe area, they know that probably they will have to teach technical skills. So what they are going to look at is the other skills, and they will use those to evaluate the person. So now I'd like you to meet Giordano. He's surely a person with a contagious enthusiasm and lots of curiosity. And you can also have a real life experience to him. I don't know if there are any questions at this point in time before Giordano starts. Otherwise, we can answer the question at the end of the session.
Hi everyone, I'm Giordano Sannino, a junior system programmer on z/OS. I've been working in Sogei since September 2021. Honestly, when I was first assigned to the mainframe area, I was both scared and excited. My principal IT skill was coding. I was a newbie in this wonderful world. I graduated from an IT Technical Institute and now I'm attending a bachelor's degree in computer science at university. The first thing that I immediately learn is the large capacity of this system. Indeed, when I get told about the fact that it can process 30 billion transactions in a single day, I didn't think about it. The day I visited the Sogei data centers, I was left astonished. Am I in a science fiction film? All that pieces of hardware attached to one or more mainframes in the same room were an impossible thing for me. That day I realized the true power of mainframe, and I feel convinced that mainframe is not obsolete, but is a never-ending innovation because it does not exist a more powerful thing. Surprising technical note, the Sogei data center has an area of 170,000 cubic meters, equivalent to 25 Italian soccer fields, and 1/3 of them are offices. During daily work, I follow different colleagues in various activities on the z/OS. However, I'm still learning the basics from IBM courses. Sogei and IBM collaborated together to set up an introduction course on the system. IBM offered us a very useful introduction course to mainframe. The course was excellent because the IBM experts answered all the questions with pleasure. And probably if I were with my colleagues, I would be a little scared about having all that questions for fear of making bad impressions. With that course, I got the basic to do and to start the training on the job with colleagues and more complex webinars. The main difficulty I faced in the very first month was the amount of different topics that the mainframe encloses. Even if they are related to each other, they also require qualified knowledge. But besides this initial difficulty, I work in a comfortable and safe place where I can learn all these things without hurries and pressures, and I am so grateful. Bit by bit, I'm facing all the ZOS systems, and I can feel confident that the battle against the black and green screen is going to be a success. During the process, I'm definitely liking it with plenty of fun too. At first sight, the black and green screen could be frightening. However, I'm convinced that the new generation can accept it. It will be better to have something more new generation friendly, some things that remind them the idea they studied at school. That will lead them into a faster and more precise way to learn things. And the answer to such a thing is called Zoe, a product that innovates the interaction with the ZOS. When I discovered it at an IBM presentation, I was left astonished and I wanted to give it a try. I learned in the famous old-fashioned way that surely works, but this doesn't mean that we cannot improve it. The change can't stand to live in the past with phrases such as "we have always done it in this way." But this doesn't mean that I don't trust my colleagues. Instead, they are the core of my learning, and I am so grateful to them. And I will always trust them because they are far more experienced. But I also believe in the innovation and in the raising power of mainframe, and I want to be experienced and competent to participate in this innovation. In 1 year, I learned a lot of things thanks to my fantastic colleagues and thanks to the Z System user community. They made me discover a lot of courses that gave me the basics to understand the mainframe. I highly recommend you to enrich your personal network. The formula is the addition of training at the job and courses. As you can see from the balance, they are both fundamental. Speaking about on-the-job trainings brings me to the topic of the SOJ mentoring program. A new employer is assigned 3 key figures: a technical tutor, an HR tutor, and a buddy. The technical tutor is responsible for overseeing the employer's technical training. They may teach directly or delegate the task to others, but the new employer can always count on the supervision and the help of the tutor. The HR tutor is a member of the human resources team and is highly skilled in soft skills. They guide the employer in their personal and professional development and are always available to assist with any problem. The regular meetings with the technical tutor and the HR tutors provide opportunities to discuss challenges or celebrate progress and to set new goals. In addition to these 2 figures, the employer also has their unit manager and colleagues as part of the training on the job team. Together, they work to create supportive and positive environment for the employer's growth and development. Finally, the buddy is a seasoned employer who acts as a friend and confidant for the new employer. They can be relied on for support and advice, as they too have recently gone through the same experience as the new employer. How far can a newbie go in 1 year of mainframe? I started with the basic of ZOS. ZOS is the specialized operating system, so the low-level software that supports a computer basic function of mainframes. Mainframes are high-performance computers with large amounts of memory and processor that process billions of transactions in real time. ZOS is a highly and scalable operating system for running mission-critical applications. It combines a number of formally related products for mainframe. I continue my adventure studying Job Control Language, JCL, a script language used on IBM mainframes operating system to instruct the system on how to run a batch job. Its purpose is to say which programs to run using which files or devices for input and output. After getting some basics, I went in depth doing some specific courses. For example, I got specialized on SAS programming. SAS is an integrated software suite for advanced analytics, business intelligence, data management, and predictive analysis. I used it in order to do cost accounting job in my company. SAS can be used on the mainframe, and in our case, is used to store and handle records of CPU usage in tables. I also specialized in SQL. It stands for Structured Query Language, and it's used to communicate with the databases. It can be used in SAS programming language to manipulate the data tables with queries. One of the last topics that I studied is SMPE, System Modification Program Extended. Is the basic tool for installing and maintaining software, product, or services in ZOS systems. Before the start of my journey, I knew nothing about these things. I can say I made a lot of progress, but the learning has just started. My school studies on programming helped me a lot to understand in a quick way how to write good JCLs or understand concepts like virtualization, memory, and operating system. But on the other hand, it took me more time to learn about Unix system service, SMPE installations, because my school studies didn't prepare me for this topic. I managed to be confident on these topics despite having to overcome some difficulties. So don't be afraid if you feel insecure when you start. This year, I became independent in the cost accounting job of my company. In SOJ, we do cost accounting to price the procedures running on our mainframe and to establish who is the customer that is going to pay for these procedures. That is because on our machines runs a lot of transactions from different customers to which we have to report the cost to pay. The cost accounting starts with the SMF records collection. SMF stands for System Management Facility, which is a component of ZOS from IBM. The purpose of SMF is to produce records of activities on mainframe computer, and then are recorded to a file. Types of activities which can be recorded by SMF includes errors, software usage, network activity, and much more. For cost accounting purpose, we are interested in CPU usage. The SMF records arrive in a compact and unreadable format. That's the reason why we use MXG, a program used to unpack and read the SMF records. MXG software is a SaaS-based software package that processes the SMF data records into an organized collection of formatted and decoded SAS datasets, commonly known as the performance database, the PDB. We work directly on these SAS tables to do our actions. The SAS without this MXG step would not be able to read the SMF records. This SMF reading is the start of our cost accounting procedures. What comes next is the manipulation of these SAS tables in order to comply with our policies that differs by customers and type of consumer. The SAS tables can be grouped by day or discarded depending on the rules of the contract that the single client has stipulated with us. The final SAS tables are loaded into DB2 databases to reach the final output of cost accounting, which is the Excel sheet. The database is read and the days to be accounted to the customers are loaded into the mainframe dataset. With FTP, which is File Transfer Protocol, we download the table into a TXT file, which is the input of the Excel. In the Excel environment, the CPU usage or cost are sorted from customer. Presenting the parcel to customer with the real cost, speaking about money, is someone else's job. It might seem simple, but a cost accounting flow can and must be complicated for various reasons. There are a lot of intermediate tables in order to have backups or to apply different cost policies, frequent unit conversions, specific case for certain customers or certain system with different characteristics. The Sysplex architecture provides for different systems, and each of these has its own procedures with specific input SMF. There are also control mechanisms to avoid having duplicate records in case procedures are launched twice. There are also recovery mechanisms if a procedures ended badly, and the requests and the deadlines must be respected with taxations. But instead of scaring me, it motivates me to commit myself even more. So what I learned managing a cost accounting flow? I learned using SAS language to understand the existing procedures and being able to manage the request and the recoveries. I also specialized in SAS to being able to operate with tables, converting unit of measure, discarding records, merging table, and so on. I learned JCL in depth. Managing a large number of records implies some knowledge of memory management. And in my day-by-day work, I am now able to handle the frequent JCL errors. I also expanded my database knowledge. The frequent queries that I do helped me a lot. So let's end with some advice based on the start of my mainframe adventure for all of you, for the new generations. Let me try. You already know this, but let me say that getting JCL errors is the best way to learn. You can learn more from errors than having all work straight the first time, so don't be afraid of making mistakes. It takes time to manage how to face different topics. The world of mainframe encloses a lot of topics. It requires time to actually manage the way to face them properly. So a new entry could be engaged in a lot of activities, and a main tutor is a must to don't get lost among the topics. Understand when you need help. There are errors way too complicated for a novice, but this in the mainframe world, but everywhere. But remember that it's very useful spending time debugging or consulting manuals to handle errors. Be flexible and ask for time. Since the school studies does not give all the basics, a newbie could be already good in something, but need more time than you think to understand the other things. So don't be afraid. And do I have to learn it now? Sometimes I got said, you don't have to understand this now. And this sentence is so powerful because as a new entry, I wanted to figure out and I tried to understand everything, but sometimes it's too early and I forgot this. But don't make this an excuse. Sometimes you have to trust that you will manage it without even without knowing it at all. But keep on being curious and don't hide beside it. If there are any questions, don't be afraid. I am here to answer them.
So thank you so much, Giordano. So this is the last part of our presentation. So I will talk to you about this new project called Z Adoption. So we were feeling that we needed to create awareness around mainframe, because even people working on this platform for 30 years got used to do things in the same way as they always did. So they were not focusing on the new possibilities. So JS started to transform the process that shifts the paradigm of delivery of its IT services from legacy to cloud. And we're talking about both public and on-premise cloud. So we are aiming to create quality cloud services to customers using all the platforms on the market to operate the fit-for-purpose approach. So our focus is to deploy the services on the platform that will best meet the requirements in terms of service level agreement and specific customer needs. So we feel that the opportunity offered by the architecture of the new Z16 are making it ready to have our Z systems to be part of our cloud on-premise in a very short future. So what we have done is to propose internally this architecture as cloud-enabled platform to adopt. So the main focus of this project is to offer enterprise-grade cloud services to our customers, exploiting the tremendous capabilities in terms of availability, security, and performance. And our approach is based on some steps. So we are talking about exploring these system architecture capabilities. So the first step was to create a competence center on IBM Z system in our company, this to make everyone aware of the cloud capabilities it has. We have done so with interactive learning sessions and on-demand hands-on labs. Doing so, we create a base knowledge for everyone interested in the company, and we could summarize it in one word: making awareness. Then we gather people to do a business framing session on IBM Garage to find use case gaining value from the Z architecture. So the next ongoing step is to do team working on the found context to finally implement architecture, proof of concept, and MVPs on the selected use cases. Why this system? For us, it is correlated with cloud adoption. It is a cloud-enabled asset that we already own. On our on-premise cloud, it is very difficult to give the same flexibility as the public cloud. You would need more servers, more network connectivities, and so on. So we feel that having the Z system to be part of the on-premise, it could help when there is a workload spike and more resources are needed. And of course, we are thinking about application portability to do so. So we started this journey on September 26th last year. So there was the learning program to build this Z Competence Center with a live event open to any of our colleagues in the company. There have been 5 sessions. The first one was an overview covering architecture and capabilities discovery. And they explain things like the difference of the available processors. So I'm talking about GPs, ZIPs, IFLs. They explain the LPAR concept and operating system and virtualization and things like that. The second session was focused on the Talon processor and the AI capabilities that are now available, and open source framework that can be used, and the integration with Cloud Pak for Data. There has been a session for DevOps and application modernization, but in the midst about developing on this system. The aim was to open the perspective to more cloud standard development tools. Talking about IOPS and sustainability, this was on how to monitor the platform with the help of AI and what kind of savings we could achieve in terms of energy and resources. Last but not least, security. That's a very important topic. So we talked about integrate HSM capabilities, crypto as a service capabilities, and basics of confidential computing. Now those sessions are available in our learning portal in order to anyone to go back and have a look at them at any time. 3rd of October last year, we had a business framing session on site in IBM. Okay, it was a group of 30 people divided in 2 teams. So people were having different background and competencies. The outcome of this session can be divided into 3 main categories. We are talking about application transformation, so bringing new containerized application to z/OS container extension and Linux on Z, and integrate and transform legacy application using this new technology. Then we are talking about data governance, data gravity, and AI improvements of our data strategy. And the third one was infrastructure enhancement. So use the technology in terms of hardware capabilities with special attention to confidential computing. So the next steps that will be taking place this year, we will have to define and find specific use cases to explore each of the outcome contexts. So make an extended team for each use case, deep dive on specific topics with the IBM Garage sessions or hands-on labs, design the architecture, and create a pilot implementation for each use case. The journey of this project has just started, but we believe that we can bring value to our business adopting this platform as a cloud service. So we heard that change is the only constant in life, but we also need to keep in mind that it takes surely time and effort, and there is no evolution without change, and there is no change without unknowns and uncertainties. Then I mentioned the importance of feedback. So to make us do better next time, please, I invite you to fill in the feedback form and, give us any comments so we can improve ourselves. Not sure if there are any questions.
So thank you very much, both of you. It was a great presentation. It was very nice to hear. As Herb said as well, many questions. Herb, anything to add from your side?
Well, first off, I mean, that was amazing. That was what I'd call the quintessential skills and learning stream talk. So some really interesting ideas in there, and I hope perhaps we can drill down in future talks on some of those things, particularly some of the bits about the mentoring system that you had and how it worked. That sounds really interesting. There were some great bits I picked up on, particularly Giordano. You have what we call a Doctor Who moment, where you realize quite how big and awesome the mainframe is. You're bigger on the inside, and I see this with my students quite often. So it's great to know that happens kind of everywhere. One of the things I was interested in, clearly, I mean, this is an incredible team effort. And you're putting a great amount of energy into making this happen. What was the story of how you got the management buy-in to make that happen?
Okay, so yes, as you said, it's very important to have the management with us. So what we did in our company, and this came from our management, they made a study to try to understand what would have meant for us in terms of efforts to move out of the mainframe or to keep it. So they have done this study with also external companies that helped us to do so. So then they decided that we can have it, we can keep it, but we have to make it in cloud. What I was talking about, the adoption for us is important to give to our customer any kind of solution that they need to fulfill their requirements, because they're very different. And it doesn't mean that everything can go on the mainframe, but the mainframe must be part of that. I don't know if I answered you.
Yeah, so it seems that somehow or other management did a study and decided that they needed it, and that's what made them act. So maybe that's a lesson for some of us. It's like, okay, if you can demonstrate the need, if you can help management come to their own conclusions, then maybe that's how you'll get permission to do the kinds of things that you've been doing.
We have been very lucky because our management is quite open-minded. So is open to any kind of, of solution or any kind of discussion that we can bring to them. So I think that's also a positive thing, because it's not without arguing on things. It didn't came out just, we did the study and that's it. There were some discussion on that afterwards.
Yeah, no, I hope we can follow your journey further, so we can kind of bring this up as an example for other teams about this is how it's done. Giordano, you mentioned that you didn't learn much about mainframes when you were studying. What would you have liked to have known as a university lecturer myself? What kind of things should people be saying early on?
Okay, probably it will be better to not to study some specific arguments, but to talk more about the architecture, the memory management, these topics that are about the architecture and about the system, not only for the mainframe, all the system, the computer systems. But because I would, if I do, I don't know what the SMP at university, it will not be the same to do it on with the training of the job. But for me, the technical notes about how the mainframes and the computer work, these are the fundamental where you can build up all the other things.
Sure. So in a way, it seems like you're saying, well, don't ignore it, bring it up, but specifics you have to learn on the job, maybe.
Yeah.
Other quick one. So is your working language English or Italian inside the company?
Italian.
Right. Just because I saw all your panels were in English, so I thought, oh, that's so you must. I'm guessing English language is part of the training, or?
Well, English is, when you open cases, when you read two manuals, technical stuff is all written in English. When you go to the IBM community, if you need something, then English is, a common language in technology. But then when we talk on the day by day, it's Italian.
Cool. Okay, so any other questions? Anything to mention? Perhaps it's good to repeat that we hope to gather some feedback from the sessions. What did you like? What would you like to see the next time? So we can make sure that the next time we can have the best sessions possible as well. And with that, I would like the speakers of today. I would like to thank Herb, of course. I would like to thank Giordano, and I would like to thank Chiara. I hope that I pronounced it right.
Yes, that's perfect.
And with that, we're at the end of this session, and we hope to see you after the lunch for the next session on skills and training. So for now, thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Have a good day.